And now on to the second half of 18 Songs of a Nomad Flute. And that 18, by the way, is a significant number because 8 plus 1 are 9, and 9 is a key sacred number in Chinese numerology. It signifies the ending, the completion of a cycle. 10 is called A Child is Born Now. How I am grieved by the indignities I have suffered and revolted by rank smells, how I despise the nomad land and hate the nomad sky. When I became pregnant with a barbarian child, I wanted to kill myself. Yet once I bore it, I found the love of mother and child. His looks are strange and his speech is different, yet my hate turns into love. Deep inside, I feel the tug of my heartstring. Morning and evening, he is with me. How can I not pity that which my womb has borne and my hand nurtured? The father watches, sitting outside the yurt, while Wenqi holds their child. Tribesmen approach to congratulate the couple. Beyond the screens, the routines continue, the cook no doubt producing more of the smells mentioned in the poem. Behind the prince's yurt stands the splendid red lacquered camel cart that Wenqi rides in, its floor padded and matted, its sides walled with fabric. Its high, thin wheels make it an excellent crosser of sand, mud, and streams. 11. Watching geese fly south. Days come and months go by. Time hurries along. By the movement of the year star, it is now almost 12 years. Winter or summer, we lie in frost and sleet. When the water freezes and the grass withers, I mark another year. In China, we have a cyclical calendar to mark the full and new moon. But in these far-off lands, the sun, moon, and stars only hang meaninglessly in the sky. Many times the migratory geese come and go. I am broken-hearted as the moon wanes and again grows full. And so that star is Jupiter, the movement of the year star. Now note that it takes Jupiter 12 years to go around the sun. And so this is, at this point, the author is conscious that Jupiter has completed one complete cycle. And we're at chapter 11. So each chapter loosely corresponds to 1 year of her life out on the nomad steppe. And Jupiter is the kingly planet. It's also a planet of beneficence. When in astrology Jupiter makes a return, it brings good luck. And in this case, the Jupiter return coincided with her having a child. So it brought her something now that she can love and cling to. There again, this is the soul's difficulty on the physical plane. Even though we are homesick for the other world, we can still fall in love with this world and with people in it and have attachments. Wenqi has 2 children. Autumn foliage is again on the trees. A ribbon of geese crosses the sky, winging south, while the Chinese habitually keep track of the seasons and years so that lives of people and affairs of state may be properly ordered in accord with the workings of the universe. Wenqi, as an exile, sees seasonal change only as part of an interminable flux of time. 12. Messengers arrive. A broken bottle dropped into a well is lost forever. With no hope in sight, I have given up all thought of returning. How could I have known that an envoy would come from afar, asking names? The Han speech, pleasing to the ear, brings happy news. How many times had my soul wandered home in my dreams? Each time after I awoke, my sorrow was deeper still. Now that I am faced with what I dreamt, grief comes after joy. My emotions become unbearable. Summer green is on the hills when messengers sent by the Chinese approach with word of the impending ransom. Wenqi's first reactions of surprise and joy are followed immediately by a new kind of grief as the implication of her return to China, permanent separation from her husband and children, strikes her. Now she's having doubts about going back. She's gotten so used to life out on the steppe, and she has 2 children, and she's attached to them. She doesn't want to leave them. She's reluctant to go back. 13. The farewell. My children pull at my clothes, one on either side. I cannot take them both with me, but in leaving them behind, how I shall miss them. To return home and to depart in sorrow, my emotions are mixed. Now I must abandon my children in order to return home. She has to leave both of her children. I'm sorry, I made a mistake there. Across 10,000 miles of mountains and rivers, I shall arrive at our border stations. Once having turned away forever, there shall be no news from my children. With tear-stained face, I turn toward the setting sun. All day long I have stood there looking to the south and then to the north. The story approaches its climax. The cooks make last preparations in their screened-off area. The wine servers stand ready. The tall red serving table is in place, and cushions and tables are formally set for the banquet no one will eat with relish. Many in the camp, men as well as women, are overcome. The prince lifts his sleeves to blot his tears. His older son tugs at Wen Qi's garments, while the younger boy, crying, reaches from the arms of a nurse. The prince's horses, their tails hanging long, are saddled. The bearer of his parasol stands ready. Beyond the camel cart, indifferent to the drama, a tribesman stretches and yawns. At a respectful distance behind a hill, the Chinese envoy and his retinue wait beneath the imperial banner. So the return. Getting ready for death, in other words, in life. Your years have gotten on, and now your mind slowly has to disengage from the physical world and make ready for the crossing to the other side. 14. The return journey begins. Do not think that the nomad children cause me shame. Anyone would speak of his or her children with love. The 10 fingers of the 2 hands are of different lengths, yet the pain of one cut off is the same as for any other. Upon my return, I shall be reunited with my kinsmen. Then this part of my life will be as remote as the dead are from the living. The southern wind blows across 10,000 miles to stir my heart. My heart will follow the wind and cross the Lao River. Preceded by nomad outriders and sword-carrying Chinese, the Chinese envoy and the nomad prince ride side by side. Since the journey will be long, the pace is moderate. The footman carrying the envoy's folding chair has no trouble keeping up. The procession stretches far back into the hills, even as the leaders draw near a wave-filled river. Wen Qi travels concealed from view in her camel cart. Such a vehicle covered with a blue fabric is described in the history of Lao as proper for a Khitan princess. The brand of the envoy's horse, pronounced Quan, means official. And there they go, going back to the city. 15. The nomad husband turns back. I sigh that my feelings are undefined. I was grieved then by coming away, and now I hate returning. I no longer understand such emotions of worry and sorrow, and I feel only a sharp knife stabbing at my heart. Sorrow mixed with joy is not a happy feeling. My thoughts are at cross purposes. I keep asking myself this. Unless it was fate that preordained such a marriage, how could I have become bound to my enemy in love and trust? Oh, you better believe it was fate. Before she incarnated, she and the soul of this barbarian prince, they both agreed that this would happen. These kinds of karmic ties they're not accidental at all. Major relationships in our lives are karmically connected. So this was pre-agreed before she incarnated. The composition is nearly a mirror image of the procession in the second painting, except that it is the prince who now rides the dappled horse with snow leopard saddle skin. Riding at his side is his older son. Behind, on the lap of a subordinate, the younger boy lifts his hand in a gesture of farewell. This whole story has a very melancholy feel about it. It's sort of like the sigh of things. Everything is a kind of melancholy tinge to it. 16. The journey continues. On my way here, I noticed only the vast blue sky. In the days of my return, I realized how distant is the nomad's land. In the overcast sky, it is difficult to know where the sun sets, but the direction in which the geese fly must be south. Looking in all directions across the flat sands, one easily gets confused, so we followed the geese near and far away. Long before the end of the journey, no more horse tracks can be seen. No other humans are in sight, only the yellow grass of the steppes. A line of geese in the sky guides the caravan. The envoy, on his dappled horse, has his chair constantly beside him, ready for the rest stops. The camel cart went back with the nomads. Wen Qi now rides in a bullock cart, a familiar Sung vehicle, seen also in Cheng Tutuan's Qingning festival on the river. While the artist portrays most of the Chinese elements in the Wen Qi story in 12th century fashion, he has given the envoy and his retinue a Han detail. The Tung Jian Quan, or cap with 2 peaks in back and an ornament, frequently of jade, in front. This cap survived in later periods as part of a Taoist priest's costume. And of course, jade is something that confers immortality. In a Chinese burial, very often you will find, especially if it's an emperor, a jade bead will be deposited into the mouth of the dead person. And also the Aztecs continued this tradition as well. Further connections between Mesoamerica and the Chinese civilization. 17. A Chinese city in view. We traverse thousands of miles under the nomad sky, seeing only yellow sands and white clouds rising. The horses are starving. They race across the snow to feed on grass roots. The men are thirsty. They break through the ice in order to drink the running water. At Yanshan, we begin to see bonfires in the garrison. The sound of military drums tells us that we are hearing the forts of China. We rally and make our way, assured that the Emperor's land lies ahead, life lies ahead, and I have escaped death among the nomads. So when she remains secluded in the car while the troop rests, the landscape closely resembles that of the second scene. The envoy relaxes in his chair. His official staff and the imperial banner are planted in the ground. Far off, indistinct in the winter mist, is a Chinese outpost. 18, and the final song. I return home and see my kin. The fields and gardens are half wild, but the spring grass is green. Bright candles are lit again from ashes and ruins. Cool spring water cleanses a jade that had sunk in the mire. As I hold towel and comb, I rediscover the good rituals and etiquettes. Touching the Qing again enables me to live or die without regret. From going out through the past to my return was 12 years. Now all my sorrows are told in this song of the Nomad Flute. So it's 18 chapters, and the entire journey has been 12 years, one complete Jupiter cycle. And that is absolutely deliberate on the part of the author. He knows what he's doing. The physical setting is that of the first scene, but the atmosphere and action are very different. Beneath the greening willows, the street is a bustle. Parents with children pass, friends greet and congratulate one another. A young vendor with a box on his back and a clapper in his hand is part of the crowd, as is a man carrying firewood and a scholar with his attendants. A tea shop, shuttered against the violence in the first scene, is open. The weary men of the envoy's mission rest along the wall. 2 of them are bearing from a cellar of breads. Servants carry Wen Chi's belongings through the gate and within doors. So long away, Wen Chi, once more dressed as a Chinese lady, walks up the steps to her chambers. Her relatives and friends, sleeves at mouths, endeavor to conceal at least some of their mixed joy and anguish lest it become unseemly. This is exactly what happens when the soul returns, crosses over to the other side. It is greeted normally by loved ones, dead relatives, and so forth. So same thing. All right. That's it. 18 songs of a Nomad Flute. Patreon donations are always appreciated. I'll put that down in the menu below. I also do astrology readings. Hit me up at johndavidebert@gmail.com if you're interested in that. And to enroll in my upcoming course, which begins Saturday, November 11th at 2 p.m. MST, Understanding the Hermetic Tradition. I'll put the link in the box so you can enroll in that should you be interested. And I always take PayPal donations as well. The PayPal ID is johndavidebert@gmail.com. Donations are very encouraging. Thank you.